I was 10 years old when my uncle molested me, and he said he wanted to do it to teach me how to be a man.
Johnny's story could be the story of any American boy or girl. Johnny's parents got a divorce when he was 10 years old, and every other weekend he would go to his father's house, where his 42-year-old uncle also lived. That's how Johnny's nightmare began.
I never thought that this would happen to my family, my children. I've had so many talks with them involving sex and abuse and a lot of information about stranger danger. What I didn't emphasize as much as I wished I should have is that this includes family members.
Before he started doing what he did, he used to go play basketball, He'd buy me some things, we'd be happy, but now I don't even like to think about him anymore.
Johnny's uncle was your average, everyday, ordinary person. He did come into contact with children a lot. He was very musically inclined, so he gave lots of music lessons and participated in various musical groups. Lots of things that are appealing to boys, like drums and guitars and that type thing.
Johnny's uncle had been molesting young boys for years, but most of his victims were too afraid or too ashamed to tell.
He threatened me by saying if I told anybody and something happened to him for it, he'd get me back, or he would come for me or try and hurt me or something. It made me feel scared and petrified. He thought he could do this to me because he kept buying me things over and over again, yo-yos, CDs, games, all kinds of stuff.
My son went through a lot of personality changes during the time of his abuse, the time that it was occurring, prior to my knowledge of it. He spent a lot of time in his room by himself, very secluded. His sister and he had a normal sister-brother relationship, but his personality even began to change towards her. He became very aggressive.
It affected me in a whole bunch of ways. I kept being mean to my sister, sometimes hitting her. I was mean to everybody else. I didn't like to play basketball anymore or anything.
There are a lot of different ways in which kids cry out for help. They seldom tell us directly when it's sexual abuse. Instead, there are numerous signs and changes in their behavior that parents need to watch out for.
Well, that same day, it was time to pick them up from school. He got into the car. He and I immediately started when he got into the car. Why were you hiding papers? Why were you not bringing them home to me? I was aware that the grades were going down anyway, so why? He wouldn't give me an answer. He would say, I don't know, or something of that effect. And I had gotten to the point where we had to have some answers. I used my cell phone to call his father in the car. The damage that he did to my son is a permanent damage. We have been able to successfully repair and patch up and refocus our attentions on the progression of my son's life, but what he did to my son and others doesn't go away. It stays there. And that is our only recourse, is to keep him exactly where he is, in prison. And that's where we want him to stay.
I'm telling this on this film right now so I can warn every other person or kid or adult or teenager, whoever, watch out for these kinds of things. Don't get tricked. Don't get fooled. Watch out for all the people, even people that you know have been your friend or your family member's been close to you for all these years, and you think that you can trust them, but then, like that, you'll get tricked. So watch out. If it does happen, you go tell somebody right away, and if you can, testify against them. They can go in jail for it. It's probably what they deserve anyway. And, don't let nobody get too close or cross your line or anything like that. I hope this helps a lot of other people to prevent what happened to me.
In Johnny's story, we have a situation where there's an adult who hangs out with kids, and in his case specifically hung out with the boys. He didn't have many adult friends. A lot of things that when we look back in retrospect send off red flags.
Writing in my diary was a big way for me to get my fear out and to express myself about, what was happening. And I remember when we were going out of town, I was in a big rush, and I ripped the pages out and left them, sitting there. And I think on a subconscious level, I probably did that, on purpose. Maybe that's how they were supposed to find out.
Melissa's family appeared to be the picture-perfect family. They lived in a big house with many rooms and many walls between them. But those walls came crashing down when Melissa's mother found the diary that told about her daughter's abuse.